10-4, Jamie, thank you. And thank you to everyone who is watching us online. I'm Miliana Marino in News Chopper 4 Alpha, along with my pilot, Saro Garabetian, over West Hollywood. This is going to be Santa Monica Boulevard and North San Vicente Boulevard as well. We have the LA County Sheriff's Department, the West Hollywood Division of the Sheriff's Department, out in full force here in the area. They're currently staging there along San Vicente Boulevard, and there's actually some sort of like barbed wire between the, and I wouldn't necessarily call it barbed, but it is some sort of wire that is acting as a barrier to keep the protesters that came out of the Hollywood area from proceeding southbound on San Vicente. So they're basically being forced to stay on Santa Monica Boulevard right outside of the police station, and that may be why the wire is up here to begin with. I don't know that they put it up just as the large crowd was approaching. This may have been there, may have been here now for a little while because there are additional barriers in place. Again, this is right outside of the Sheriff's West Hollywood station. You see it there. And in a moment here, I'm going to push in so that you can see some of the deputies that are up on the helipad. Most of them are just up there, just kind of looking as the crowd goes by. Some of them were just taking pictures on their personal devices. And again, those deputies are looking to the north, which is where we find this large crowd. Again, Santa Monica and San Vicente. This particular portion of the protesters is small compared to what we saw over near Hollywood and Highland earlier. This is maybe just a couple hundred people. We saw a much larger crowd of about 20,000 people on Hollywood Boulevard between Highland and Vine. A lot of those groups, though, have separated. They've broken down into smaller groups and are still protesting here in the area. We were just over at Hollywood and Highland where we saw that there is a memorial for George Floyd, as well as other young men and women who have died in altercations with the authorities. That again, right at the intersection of Hollywood and Highland. We then proceeded to the west, though, heading westbound on Santa Monica until we came to this intersection of Santa Monica and San Vicente, where we realized that the crowd was not going to be able to continue walking south because of that barrier that is in the way between them and the deputies. Again, it's unclear when this was put out here. We didn't really notice it till we just arrived on scene, but it may have been here over the past few days because of the ongoing protests in the area. I'm going to widen out though so that we can kind of get a feel for things, see what's going on. This is the largest crowd that we see right now, but if you were watching our footage earlier, you'll know that that crowd is very small compared to what we saw earlier. I'm just kind of looking around here, though. Maybe we'll stumble upon another group. But again, the only other group that we saw was still near Hollywood and Highland. And now we have this group, this big building that you see right under us, the one that's blue, green, and red. That is the Pacific Design Center. So just on the north of that is where we have the sheriff's station. And just past that, at the intersection of Hollywood and Highland, I'm sorry, at the intersection of Santa Monica and San Vicente, is where we have all the protesters. You may be familiar with this intersection because it is the one that has the rainbow crosswalks. So that again here in the West Hollywood area. And Saru and I are just kind of looking out the window, trying to figure out if there's any other large groups. We're of course monitoring on the scanner as well, so if we hear that there is a large group elsewhere on the move, we will try to go catch that for you so we can bring you those images as well. But again, this all happening here, Santa Monica and San Vicente. Of course, if you're trying to make your way through here, there's a lot of traffic. It's going to be impossible to get past those protesters. However, looking at the general area, it looks like traffic in this area in general is pretty light. You see these additional sheriff's squad cars coming to the scene, and a few of them staging here on streets nearby. I see a little group of people coming here. Perhaps they're coming to join the protesters that are at Santa Monica or San Vicente, or it very well could just be people walking through the area. Oh, good point. Yeah. Sarah was just making a good point there. We were trying again trying to figure out why that wire is down there, what the purpose of it is. But he brings up a good point. If this is the station, which we know it is, it's the sheriff's station. By having the wire there, it would prevent the crowd from blocking the sheriff's deputies if they had to respond to a call. So this does give them easy access in and out of their station. Whereas if the protesters were blocking that street, the sheriff's deputies would have a tough time getting in and out of the sheriff's station to respond to calls in the area. And of course, that's not what anybody wants. If there's a 911 call that goes out and the deputies need to respond, they of course want to respond there as quickly as possible. So by keeping at least the surroundings around the station free of protesters, they'll still be able to easily go in and out of the station. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Th- Yeah, that park right there, yeah. I forget what that celebration's called. I think it is Pride Week, right? Yeah. So again, Sarah with the good points here. We covered the Pride Week that was out here in the West Hollywood area. It happens every year, but he does bring up a good point that during those celebrations, this park is where those festivities take place, right across from the Blue Whale. And he's right. Usually the police department, the sheriff's deputies, usually do block that street that borders the park and the station, just again to allow in in and out of the station, and they even do reposition some of their resources during that time to make it easier for them to respond to calls in the area. Looking around though, there are a lot of sheriff's squad cars here in the area. Uh, Almost every intersection that we've seen here in the area does have officers or deputies rather staging. We haven't seen them perform any arrest, and they really haven't been necessary because this crowd that we've been monitoring now for the last few hours is very peaceful. They're out here with their signs, they're chanting, they're singing, dancing, giving speeches. Uh, we've seen a memorial put up right at the famous intersection of Hollywood and Highland in memorial for George Floyd, and everything has been very peaceful despite the fact that the crowd at its peak numbered about 20,000 people. And it really is the largest crowd that we've seen in quite a while. It's the largest crowd we've seen in connection to these protests. And the crowd now moving westbound, Santa Monica. I'll give you the cross here. It's not San Vicente, but it's Robertson. Santa Monica, heading westbound, away from Robertson Boulevard. Okay. Maybe a rescue of some sort? Okay, let me tune it in. Okay. Oh, the city. Okay. I'm tuning it in right now. I'm tuning it in on the scanner. Yeah. Okay, sounds good. We are going to pass by one of the fire helicopters here on the way home, Jamie. We're just going to see what he's doing. He's right here up on the hill, so we're just going to take a quick peek, see if he's up to anything. And if it's nothing, we'll continue. Oh, I think it might be a rescue. Yeah, it's a rescue. So perhaps a hiker rescue of some sort. Yeah, I have it as a rescue. And I believe we might still be streaming, so for those of you who are watching, we've actually been cleared to go home for the time being. We're going to take a quick peek at some activity here in the Hollywood Hills, perhaps a hiker rescue of some sort. We know that there is a fire helicopter ship up here, so we're just going to take a quick peek. If it's not worth, you know, reporting here because perhaps it's a false call or something of that nature, then we'll just continue on. Let's see. Oh yeah, have him. He's the guy over there.